So everyone in Telluride knows that you're happier when you're out hiking or mountain biking or skiing. The question is, can we measure exercise-induced changes in brain function which reflect this good feeling, and use this to help people make better decisions and improve their quality of life? My name is Camilla Gardner, and I'm a senior at the Telluride Mountain School. I spent my 6-week Pinhead internship at the CU Change Lab, operating out of the Department of Neuroscience at the University of Colorado Boulder. Under Dr. Angela Bryan, I primarily worked with a group of undergrad, grad, and postgrad students who were collaborating on a study known as FORCE. In this study, I worked with 2 groups of participants, all of which who were sedentary. And one group was in their late 50s and 60s, and the other in their early 20s. And for each participant, the study itself consisted of 3 stages: the initial testing, which included neurologic exams and an fMRI, a 16-week exercise regimen, and a final testing, including neurologic exams and another functional MRI. At the beginning and end of the exercise program, participants would undergo several neurologic tests, including the 42-minute fMRI. These neurologic tests would take place both in and out of the scanner and were designed to test the person's memory, speed, and accuracy. For example, one of the tests asked participants to click on a colored button that correlated with the color of a word on the screen. So now you guys get to take the test. I'm going to show a series of words, and I want you to say the color of the word as fast as you can. Ready? So, for some of the tasks performed in the scanner, the fMRI would plot the parts of the brain that were activated during the scan and the extent of the activation. Now, the brain itself doesn't physically light up inside your skull. Rather, the fMRI just plots when oxygenated blood is flowing into a region at a higher level than some baseline measurement. This photo shows the activation in red. Now, the fMRI itself is essentially one giant magnet, and the magnet is always in full force even when the scanner is not running. And to tell how strong this magnet is, think of the typical junkyard magnet you see lifting up cars in a junkyard. This magnet typically has a strength of 0.3 Tesla. The fMRI has a strength of 3 Tesla, equivalent to 10 times the amount of the car lifting junkyard magnet. Essentially, the fMRI could pull in a fully loaded semi-truck with its magnetic force. As you can tell, the fMRI was nothing to be taken lightly. As a result, when entering the fMRI room, we had to be sure no one had even a paper clip in their pocket, as it could go flying across the room and cause damage not only to the machine, but anyone who happened to be in its path. We also had to be really careful when sending participants into the scanner, because if they had any metal in their bodies from previous surgeries or something, the metal could vibrate, heat up, and cause pretty severe internal damage. So after all the data is collected, the researchers will compare the test, the original test, and the test taken after the 16 exercise program to see if there are any changes in cognitive function. Unfortunately, I have no results to declare, as the study will not be complete for another 4 years. So the brain is complicated. That was no surprise. But what I learned is that the ethics behind these brain studies have their own complications. During my time at the lab, I had an opportunity to work with a grad student at CU, a young girl in her 20s. She was so sweet, and I really connected with her. A few days after I worked with her, I found out that they had found something in her fMRI scan. She had what is called a Chiari malformation. This is a malformation in the brain, typically in the cerebellum, that causes the brain to protrude down into an area known as the foramen magnum, as you can see there. Essentially, this blocks the ability of cerebrospinal fluid to move up and down the brainstem. So if she was in like a huge collision or a crash, the results could be fatal. So as you can see here, that on the left, that's what her brain looked like with a Chiari malformation, and on the right, that is what a brain is supposed to look like. So this really made me stop and think not only about the power of brain scanning, but also the effects it can have on someone's life. Is she better off knowing about her Chiari malformation so that she can perhaps be more careful, or is ignorance bliss? I encourage the next class of interns to have these conversations with your mentors, as these issues are real and they can be extremely powerful. I want to thank Sarah Holbrook, Andy Schaff, Angela Bryan, the Pinhead community, and everyone at the CU Change Lab who made this experience a reality. Thank you.